These days, when it comes to PvP and online gaming, first-person shooters completely dominate the market. But whatever happened to good old melee PvP? Mordhau was officially released on Steam on April 29th, 2019, and it was an instant hit. Mordhau is a gory medieval first- and third-person slasher that is equally sweaty and silly. It allows players to engage in complex combat with multiple modes and the ability to customize both mercenaries and weapons in an unprecedented way. Mordhau comes from an independent Slovenian studio composed of young, passionate devs, many with backgrounds in the melee gaming niche. The path ahead for Mordhau and its team would be rocky at best, as for all of their accomplishments, they face their fair share of controversy. Let's dive into the game's history, scandals, and its future. Mordhau started with one man, Marco. Marco was inspired greatly by Chivalry, another medieval warfare game that was released in 2012. While Chivalry 1 would serve as inspiration for Mordhau, Chivalry 2, which would be released only 2 years after Mordhau, would be its direct competition. When he first began developing Project Slasher, the prototype to Mordhau, he had no game development experience and the help of only one other person. Project Slasher was totally scrapped after 2 years and the next project was started, this time using Unreal Engine. Over the next 3 years, the team continued to grow and Triturnion was founded. In March 2017, a Kickstarter was created and they achieved their funds within 24 hours. The desire for a follow-up to Chivalry 1 as well as the general lack of other sword-fighting games led for the anticipation for this game to be massive. Mordhau was officially released on Steam in 2019. The game was such a hit upon release that it sold 200,000 copies in its first week and 1 million in a month, but would that player base stick around? Here's what some reviewers had to say. James Swinbanks of GameSpot called it a strategic, punishing, and ultimately satisfying video game. Destructoid's Patrick Hancock found it exciting to find efficient and unique combos. The game was certainly a success, even attracting a mainstream audience and appealing to the likes of streamers like Moist Critical.
Oh man, just a full auto assault! Jesus! Clip it!
And Summit 1G. Don't get confused though, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine for Triturnion. The first sign of trouble appeared when this article was released, raising concern with the community and the company's response to said bad behavior. The players in in-game chat were being accused of being racist, sexist, and homophobic. There were also rumors that the devs were considering implementing a toggle for removing women and ethnicity for the sake of realism. Triturnion took to their official Twitter account and posted this. Examples of the problematic side of Mordhau, like any game, stems from its player base. There are the infamous Hitler cosplayers, clan members, and so on. Mordhau has historically lacked the moderation needed to stop emboldening these people, leading to Mordhau eventually being known as a game harboring an unsavory crowd. Undoubtedly, Mordhau's legacy has been tainted by this reputation. Most people in the community are good people, and there are mods doing their best to filter out the problematic people. There just aren't enough, but I do believe they're working on that. If you know Mordhau well, I might skip this section. If not, here's Mordhau 101. The gameplay is very free-flowing, allowing for 240 different possible angles one can swing in. You are in full, complete, and total control of your weapon and movement. With whatever weapon calls to one's soul, there are a variety of ways players can attack and defend. These include all different angled swings, stabs, and blocks. Here's some bonus Mordhau terminology. A feint is a fancy word for cancelling attacks. A riposte is a counterattack. A chamber is the clashing of weapons as a result of mirroring your opponent's swings, which blocks the attack and then strikes your opponent with the same attack. A morph is the switch from a swing to a stab or from a stab to a swing. There are also kicks, of course. And then there are drags and accels, which are controversial to say the least. Accels come naturally to most players, swinging and moving your mouse faster in the direction of your swing. They can be hard to block, especially if you have bad ping, but I see a lot less complaining about accels than drags. For a long time, drags were weirdly hard for me to understand and perform, but once they clicked, I was very happy. Many called drags exploits.
Are drags exploits? No.
And at a higher level, I'm sure that debate can be had, but I'll leave that to them.
My actual point is that dragging is an exploit, looks janky, which turns players away from the genre, and are not even good for the gameplay.
Basically, you look in the opposite direction of your swing, and move your mouse in the opposite direction after fully committing to your swing. These are the core mechanics of Mordhau. In terms of game modes, there are ranked duels, casual duels on duel servers, large-scale 64 and 48 player invasion and frontline battles, horde games, and a literal plethora of modded servers that open up Mordhau's horizons in a way devs have mostly failed to do. All that being said, the combat is difficult to begin learning, and the game is very punishing. Many people run into high-level players that aren't so welcoming to newcomers and don't leave with the best idea of the community. This has led to Shift 2 being known as the more beginner-friendly option, which could partially explain why the game's player counts are the way they are right now. You have to put in a lot of work to become good at Mordhau, but it is deeply rewarding. Although the community is plagued with degeneracy, it's actually what keeps people playing. Lacking a larger variety of maps, players, and DLC, Mordhau gets stale for many over time. Even so, one cannot help but notice a returning player's love for the community. Bad apples aside, most players are extremely creative, dedicated, and talented. I know this from first-hand experience. Some of the mods for Mordhau Mordhau are insane. It's by no means in its prime or even the original server or team, but the Star Wars mod is like a game within a game. They took the sword game and made it into a lightsaber sword game set in everyone's favorite universe. Come on, I played on the server JVS, Jedi vs. Sith, years ago, and it was so much fun. The creativity and dedication it takes to do something like this is huge, and it wasn't just the Star Wars server where that could be found. Notable servers that come to mind are Duke of York, Dan's Duels, and the Lord of the Rings servers. Mordhau is also filled with clans, some goofy and focused on trolling like Lolol, or others more of a classic organization like Charging Knights. Even now in the past few years, new and vibrant clans are still being formed and events are held within them, like the Dominion clan, a great option for new players who could use a guiding hand in Mordhau. The community also makes some good memes, so let's check some out. We also need to take a second to check out some customization. The first year of release they had 15 patches compared to the 2 patches in 2023, but you have to keep in mind the game has been out for 5 years now and a lot of the dev team has either moved on to other projects or left. They released 5 patches in 2020, 4 in 2021, and 2 in 2022. During the early years of Mordhau, these frequent and oftentimes unexpected updates concerning fighting mechanics and weapon stats would cause the meta in the comp scene to shift consequentially. I'm not going to go super into detail about those, but they are online if you want to check. Other changes that affected the broader community, invasion players for example, were also seen sporadically. Some notable changes include bear traps affecting teammates to bear traps not affecting teammates, the implementation of nobles in the horde update,
to defend. This guy is very powerful, very strong.
The decrease in how many firebombs one could carry, the implementation of the spawn flags, and the updated flourish emote. Many people miss the original flourish, some even modding the game to be able to use the old one. Bonus mention for the longsword pommel messing up all the emotes. So what is the current state of Mordhau? Is it even worth getting in 2024? In terms of the comp scene, it appears to be divided between US, EU, and the devs. This is a Discord call between Crush and some comp players.
Crush, in your opinion, what's worth? Is it worth 100 players leaving but 100 players buying the game?
I think you should eat some broccolis to raise your testosterone.
Okay, honestly though, are you gonna answer the question? Do you think 100 new players is better than losing 100?
You sound like the dog in your picture, dude. Why the fuck do you even speak to me?
This unsavory and petty drama has plagued Mordhau and its comp scene, leading them to get absolutely nowhere. Hopefully bad blood can be worked out between these parties, as not taking advantage of the comp aspect of this game is a real shame. A lot of the people that played comp have left, feeling there is no future or development for their scene's horizon, but there are still some people around using modded maps and mechanics to optimize their sweaty experience. I know nothing of this world, nor do I care to, but I can appreciate the 5,000-hour players from afar. In March 2024, Mordhau peaked at 1,770 players on the Steam charts. The numbers have been going down yearly, but it's not too far off from other niche games made from small teams like Triturnion. So what happened? Where has everyone gone? The common topics that come up in this conversation are the fumbling of the comp scene, the lack of new content, and the insanely high and punishing skill gap or toxic community. But remember in the beginning when I said Mordhau is equally sweaty and silly? Well, that's still true, and I think that's the game's saving grace in terms of new players. If you do get this game and realize the combat might be harder than you had hoped, there are endless possibilities for how to play and have fun that don't revolve around triple blocking and all sorts of fancy moves. Download Loop Mod and be a cute little guitar playing dwarf. Troll level 200s by riding a horse over them, equip an engineer kit and carry your team with spawn flags, or do the B classic and bear trap the shit out of everyone. Hell, equip a bow. The only thing I ask of any Mordhau noobs listening right now is to never listen to any veterans telling you how to play the game, and to play to have fun, whatever that means for you personally. If you get on Mordhau regularly, you're going to recognize a fair amount of the people you see on the battlefield, but honestly that doesn't bother me. It's nice and most definitely part of what I love about this game. One might say Mordhau is dying, but it is not dead, okay? Let's not be hasty. I happen to play many times a week on different servers in different modes, and manage to have a good time more often than not. In fact, Mordhau just had its 5th anniversary, in which hell was unleashed upon the Mordhau universe. They did a huge brand new version of Horde with insanely cool enemies and changes to the maps. It's very fun. Not many people saw this patch coming. Many assumed Totemwald was the final patch, but the player count has swelled up and many people, including myself, are having an amazing time playing it. So let's just enjoy the game while it's still around. If you have some funny Mordhau memories, moments, comments, or questions, please leave them below, as reading and replying to you guys is one of my favorite things. I hope you enjoyed this retrospective on Mordhau, and I'll see you guys next time.